This is the third part of Mindustry Ranked. Check description to find the playlist of all parts. Last time I finished with a complicated problem on MongoDB, where I had to sort the players by rating and get the current rank of the player. And I found a solution step by step inside MongoDB Compass utility that has a friendly UI to explore the database and test aggregations. So I simply sort the players first, then apply an aggregation called group, forming the array of UUIDs. After that I apply the aggregation called project to get a specific value based on my input. For instance, get the index of array of the element ABC here, which as you can see here is free. That being said, the only thing that is left was to implement that in Java, which took some time, and here is the result. You can observe my brief smile when I realized that this week of research was not in vain. But that was not enough for me, and I wanted my leaderboard to look nice. I remember that I saw someone sending emojis in chat with icons of the Mindustry blocks, so I took some time to find out how to do that. I found this list of icons with some codes, and thought it was the key to that. You won't believe how far and how close I was at this point at the same time. That is because this is not as simple as I thought. I searched on Discord of any signs on how to do that, and then I finally got how it works. But as you can see, conveyors are always facing to the side here, so I couldn't use them instead of arrows, and I had to discover something else. But the nice thing is that the game supports Unicode, which gives a lot of freedom in that sense. And not only that, but it also supports colors to Unicode symbols, which is kinda awesome. Let's colorize all our rank names then. That is quite simple to find an appropriate color for each rank, but it turns out there is no color called Anukin, so I used core instead. Let's build and try this out. That works. Almost. Quick reminder for everyone. Unicode symbols should be properly encoded in sources. That was my mistake here. Seems to work properly now. But I wanted to increase quality of life even more here and create a message of when the match starts for players to see how much elo points they can win or lose in the match. The result came out very quick and perfect. Enough simple stuff. Remember from the first video I was going to make a reconnect feature so that players come to one place and transfer for an actual match to the other server. Let's make this done. In order to do this, I first needed to set up several instances of the server. Then, there are a lot of code changes I needed to make. For a first test, let's simply transfer players on one server to the other. That simply involves making a flag inside current code and checking for that flag when trying to start the match. For the hub instance, I transfer players, but the overall idea of placing a lot of if statements seemed like a bad design, which I will for sure consider refactoring later. Let's build the prototype and join. Yay, seems to work. But here is what happens when I connect the second player. That error shouldn't be there, right? Fast fix and try that again, and I get, well, a server that works too hard sending the players over and over. Fix that and have a third try. For another error. Okay, maybe let's have some fun creating a map for hub server, because I'll need it anyway. Place something useless in the welcome message for those who wonder what's going on. Let's save and start it. Seems nice to me. After uploading the map, I found that I need to restart my room, also known as node, with the same map, and here is how to call server commands from inside the code. A little more coding and I get this message before the match starts. Next, I want to tell you a story about hopeless code and why you should hate programming. Sometimes you get an error that doesn't make sense at all, and you don't even need to be a programmer to understand how it feels. Here is an example. This null pointer. I get it each time the match finishes on the node, and you will understand why this is a weird error. Let's collect the facts that I have here before the error occurs. First, isFinished variable is false right now. Second, I have this message in the log where it says that the match ended. And lastly, I have those two lines in code where I set isFinished to true and only then output a message to the log. You've got to believe me, but this was the only place where I put isFinished to true in my code. If you think about those three facts, they do not match and follow each other. One of them should be a lie. It's either isFinished should be true right now, or there should not be a message in the log, or operations in the bottom should execute in the other order. It took me literally hours of hateful debugging such a weird behavior, and I finished with this fix. I postponed the server stop by some time, and this magically fixed the issue. I made some more adjustments along the way, but the bugs like this just blow your mind on how complicated and undetermined this can be. So I decided to make something nice after that. This command, last match, that simply shows the result of your last match. And that is finally the time to remove this limit of 2 players on the hub. It appears that you can actually put any crazy number inside here, but other servers just don't have any limit, and I wanted to get the same result. The key was to simply remove the player limit in the server config. After all that way, you can finally see here a usable version of my plugin. However, it is far from perfect and still lacks multiple rooms availability, which I'll add next time. At the end I added command to show player info for a specific rank, and changed last match command to history. That is the end of week 3 of development. Please like, subscribe and leave comments. Don't forget to join Discord server of the project and try it yourself. See you in the next video.